Hello everyone, and welcome back to Snack English, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Adam.
Hi, Adam. Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here with you today. I am really happy to see you all again.
Me too, Sarah. It is always a great day when we talk to our amazing listeners.
It really is. So, Adam, what are we talking about today? I am very curious.
Today we have a very useful topic. We are going to talk about something you do every single day.
Every single day? What is it?
Your morning. Specifically, what do you do in the morning?
Oh, I love that topic. The morning is so important. It sets the mood for the whole day.
Exactly. And in English, we talk about our mornings all the time. When you meet someone, you can ask, "How is your morning going?" Or, "What did you do this morning?"
Yes, these are very natural questions, and today we will practice them together.
We will learn the verbs for your morning routine. Words like wake up, get dressed, and have breakfast.
And we will look at a very important grammar rule for the simple present tense.
Simple and useful. That is what Snack English is all about.
So, everyone, before we start, please subscribe to Snack English and give us a like. It helps us so much.
Yes, please, and share this episode with a friend who is learning English. Morning routines are something everyone can talk about.
And if you are listening right now, comment morning below. We want to know you are here with us.
Great! Now, Sarah, let me ask you first. What do you usually do in the morning?
Well, the first thing I do is wake up. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. That is a good time. I wake up a little earlier. I wake up at 6:30.
6:30. Wow, Adam, you are an early bird.
I am. I love the morning. It is quiet and calm. Nobody is talking. Nobody is sending messages.
That is very peaceful. And after you wake up, what do you do next?
First, I get out of bed. Then I go to the bathroom. I wash my face and brush my teeth.
Wash my face and brush my teeth. These are very important morning actions. I do the same thing.
Yes, everyone does. And after the bathroom, I go to the kitchen. I make coffee.
Ah, coffee. I love coffee in the morning.
Me too. I make a big cup of coffee. It helps me wake up completely.
That is so true. You need that coffee to start the day.
I really do. And what do you eat for breakfast, Sarah?
I usually have yogurt and fruit, something light and healthy.
Yogurt and fruit. That sounds very fresh. I usually eat some bread with eggs. Simple but very filling.
Bread and eggs. That is a classic breakfast. After breakfast, what do you do?
After breakfast, I get dressed. I put on my clothes for the day, and then I leave the house.
Perfect. So we have a complete morning routine now. Wake up, wash your face, brush your teeth, make coffee, eat breakfast, get dressed, leave the house.
These are 7 great morning verbs, and they happen in the same order almost every day.
Every day. That is what a routine means. You do the same things at the same time.
Exactly. And now I want to talk about something interesting. Sarah, you said, "I usually have yogurt and fruit."
Yes, I usually have yogurt and fruit.
And I said, "I make coffee. I eat bread and eggs."
Right.
Now, listen carefully. What if I say, "Adam makes coffee. Adam eats bread and eggs"?
Oh, you added an S to the verb.
Yes. Did you hear the difference? I make, but Adam makes.
I eat, but Adam eats.
This is the simple present tense rule. When we talk about he or she or a name, we add S to the verb.
I wake up, but she wakes up. I brush my teeth, but he brushes his teeth.
Exactly. I, you, we, they, no S, but he, she, it, always add S.
This is a very important rule. Small letter, but very important.
And it is easy to forget when you're speaking fast, so practice it slowly first.
I wake up at 7. She wakes up at 7. I make coffee. He makes coffee.
Beautiful. Say it a few times and it will become natural.
Now, Adam, I want to tell a story, something that happened to me last week.
Oh, yes. Tell me. I love your stories, Sarah.
Last Monday, I woke up very early at 5:30
5:30? Why so early?
because I had an important meeting at work. I was very nervous, so I decided to wake up early and get ready slowly.
Okay, that sounds very responsible.
I made my coffee, I ate a big breakfast, I got dressed in my best shirt. I was completely ready.
Wow, you were very prepared.
I left the house at 7 o'clock. I arrived at work at 7:30. I sat at my desk and waited.
And the meeting was at what time?
The meeting was at 9 o'clock, so I waited for 1.5 hours.
Oh, Sarah, that is a long time to wait alone.
Yes, and then my colleague walked in and looked at me with a very surprised face.
Why surprised?
She said, "Sarah, the meeting is tomorrow, not today."
Oh, no. The meeting was tomorrow?
Yes, I woke up at 5:30 for nothing.
Poor Sarah. That is a very funny story, but also a little painful.
It was painful at the time, but then I laughed. I looked at the wrong day on my calendar.
That happens to everyone. I have done the same thing.
And you know what I did? I went home, changed my clothes, and had a second breakfast.
A second breakfast. Now that is a great idea.
I was hungry after all that work. The first breakfast was already a long time ago.
And did you go back to the office after?
Of course, but much more slowly this time.
I love that. Okay, everyone, before we practice, let me say something. If you are enjoying this episode, please share it with a friend and subscribe to Snack English so you never miss an episode.
Yes, and comment "morning" below. Tell us, are you a morning person? We love to read your answers.
Okay, let's practice now. I will ask Sarah some questions, and everyone listening, try to answer the questions too before Sarah does.
Yes, say the answer out loud. It's the best way to practice.
Ready, Sarah?
Ready.
Do you drink tea or coffee in the morning?
I drink coffee. I always have one big cup of coffee in the morning. I cannot start my day without it.
Nice. And do you eat a big breakfast or a small breakfast?
I eat a small breakfast, usually yogurt and some fruit. I am not very hungry in the early morning.
What time do you usually leave the house?
I usually leave the house at 8 o'clock, sometimes a little earlier if I have an early meeting.
And do you walk to work or do you take the bus?
I take the bus. My office is not very close to my home.
Good. Now, let me ask you about this morning. What did you do?
This morning, I woke up at 7 o'clock. I washed my face, made coffee, and ate some toast.
Toast. That is a great breakfast word. Toast is bread that you put in the toaster and it becomes hot and a little brown.
Yes, I love toast with a little butter. Very simple, but very good.
Delicious. My turn now. Sarah, ask me something.
Okay, Adam, what time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up at 6:30 as usual. I am always an early bird.
And did you make coffee or tea this morning?
I made coffee, of course, a big cup.
And did you eat breakfast alone or with someone?
I ate alone. My family was still sleeping.
Wait, Adam, did you say my family was still sleeping?
Yes, they were asleep. I woke up first.
Let me repeat what you said. My family was still sleeping. Can I ask, what is the verb here?
The verb is sleep, and in the continuous form, sleeping.
Yes, my family was still sleeping. But sometimes people make a mistake and say, my family was still asleep, without the ing.
Ah, that is a common error. You need to say sleeping, not sleep, after the verb was.
Exactly. Was sleeping, not was sleep. My family was still sleeping.
My family was still sleeping. That sounds natural and correct. Thank you, Sarah.
Of course. And everyone, making mistakes is completely normal. The important thing is that we notice and we fix it.
That is exactly right. We correct and we continue.
And practicing every day, even for 5 minutes, makes a huge difference.
Okay, everyone, let's wrap up today's episode. What did we talk about?
We talked about our morning routines, all the things we do from the moment we wake up to the moment we leave the house.
We learned 7 great morning verbs. Wake up, wash your face, brush your teeth, make coffee, eat breakfast, get dressed, leave the house.
And we learned the simple present tense rule. When we talk about he or she, we add s to the verb. She wakes up. He makes coffee.
I wake up, but she wakes up. Small change, big rule.
And we heard Sarah's funny story about the wrong meeting day.
Poor Sarah, but she handled it very well. Second breakfast and all.
I recommend it to everyone.
Now I have a challenge for you. Think about your morning routine. Can you say 3 things you do every morning in English?
Yes, try it right now. I wake up at time, then I verb. After that, I verb.
Say it out loud, even in your room alone. It does not need to be perfect. Just try.
Every small step is progress, and you are doing great.
Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to Snack English and share this episode with a friend.
And leave a comment below. Tell us what is the first thing you do every morning. We love reading your comments.
Thank you so much for listening to us today. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next episode.